Authorized Ford and Toyota dealerships serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by Roper's Enterprises, 122 Industrial Way. Products and services for better public health. Green Turtle. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today. And the Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure. Visit energy.gov.ky/competition to win a home energy makeover worth up to $20,000.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Wednesday, the 4th day of November 2020. I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful evening. Those of you who were up late watching the results of the U.S. elections still haven't gotten all of the results yet, and it may be a few more days before that occurs as well. Some of you may have just decided after you realized that you wouldn't get the complete results last night to just simply go to bed and see what happens when you woke up this morning. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, please be careful out there. I know earlier in the morning after 6 o'clock, it was raining very, very heavy out there. Not sure what's happening outside now, but again, we want to remind you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Always remember that the life you save may be your own. I want to remind drivers that with the rain coming down, your visibility is reduced. You also want to drive with your lights on. This morning it was amazing. After 6 o'clock, still dark. Several vehicles out there with no lights on whatsoever. No lights. You got the impression that maybe their lights weren't working, and you only realized that it was when they got behind another vehicle and started to brake. You knew at least that their brake lights were working. But other than that, people are simply driving without lights. How can people be so careless, so reckless, so thoughtless, in doing things like that? Or maybe it's just sheer ignorance. They really don't realize that they should have their lights on in the darkness as well. So I'm not sure what's happening out there. But if you are a pedestrian, if you are a cyclist, or you operating any type of vehicle on the roads, you simply just want to be as cautious, as careful as possible. So that remains the case for you out there. So folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy and dangerous roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Art Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. Again, the beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls on our toll-free number, provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord@candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. You can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. COVID testing results. The update that we received yesterday, Wednesday, the 3rd of November. Chief Medical Officer Dr. John Lee reported 276 COVID-19 tests had been carried out since the last ones on Monday, the 2nd of November, and they were all negative at that point in time. In addition to that as well, there is a release in relation to the quarantine protocols for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, and the government in a press release has indicated that they have approved quarantine at residence for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. That announcement was made yesterday as well, and there are lots of details in that regard. What this says here, traveling residents in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman will be permitted to quarantine at their residence with effect from Saturday, the 7th of November, 2020. This option has been extended to the sister islands based on the success of the pilot program in Grand Cayman. And they have attached a media release which provides more information. And also, if you want additional information on the protocols for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, you can go on the government website, www.gov.ky/news/press release. Details, Sister Islands home quarantine approved. And you can get all of the details there because they're very specific and they're very extensive as well. I'll try to share as much as I can with you during the course of the show, but like I said, it is quite extensive as well. Of course, today being Wednesday, day that we have reserved for the independent members of our legislative assembly, soon to be called Parliament. And it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning none other than MLA Mr. Ezard Miller. Mr. Miller, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and I'm glad to be here. And I guess it's fair to say that the election to the north of us is still undecided.
Yep.
But I think the one thing that proves is that the old adage about politics, that if you preach hate, lie, and entertain, you win elections. But it's more important to talk about, from my point of view, to talk about the pending election in Cayman and what we can do about that, and what's going on in our country, i.e. what all the things that happened in the Legislative Assembly in the last 2-3 weeks, because we had some important pieces of legislation that were passed with amendments. All of them were amended. So hopefully the amendments that I filed made the laws better. There would be no other reason for the government to accept an amendment that I file unless it's making the bill better. So we had some success in improving what they brought to the House.
Okay. Tell us about some of those things.
Well, for instance, the changes to the building code and to the planning regulations, there were some things in it that troubled me. For instance, in the building code, normally if you have a plot of land and you have a house approved by the planning department and the CPA, you and your contractor can actually lay the house out according to what the dimensions are and what the required setbacks are as per your planning permission. They were changing it to say that you couldn't do that anymore. You had to get a licensed land surveyor to lay out the house for you.
Right. I remember you mentioning that.
I hope to get it removed completely, but they amended it to say that you have to get the boundaries must be established by a licensed land surveyor.
Okay.
But you can still lay it out, your contractor, and you can lay the house out yourself. There were a couple of the things that...
So the boundaries of the
property.
plot of land.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And in many cases, that has already been established.
When you buy the property, you should know where your boundaries are.
Exactly.
Because the old adage, buyer beware. Make sure that you know where your boundaries are when you're buying them. Because all of the property around here at least has what they call a GB, General Boundary Survey plot. And if you're just buying a parcel in a housing development, that would have been precisely surveyed. So you really shouldn't need, you should be able to go to planning itself, who approved the survey, or go to the planning, the Lands and Survey, and get a copy of your boundary measurements and stuff and do it.
Right.
Then there was some other stuff in the building code, which again, I managed to get that change. One of the things that bothered me about the building code was, and you will recall that I sent in a question to the people from the fire people here, particularly after the deputy director for domestic had talked about the success of sprinklers, right? They're removing the requirement from certain apartments and stuff like that, and relying on having fire-rated walls between them, right? My concern is that doesn't help the occupants of the house that's burning. And while these apartments, they're justifying it based on expense, right? But I don't think you can put a price on life. I think that we should require those apartments to maintain the sprinkler systems. I mean, one of their reasons is that they weren't being maintained, and that, you got to have generators specific for your sprinkling pumps and all that kind of stuff. I would think that a 2-inch supply from City Water should be able to deliver enough water for your sprinkling system. And you should, you'd have to pay for the water if you had to use it, of course. But so that I don't. And one of the things that bothers me particularly about this government is that we seem to always be finding their own people, right? And removing regulations to make it easier for developers and business people to do business. And I think I have a responsibility to first the people that I represent. Because, I mean, I can promise you that the cost of an apartment is now not going to be reduced by the cost of a sprinkling system not being put in it. All these new apartments that are being built around Georgetown by the hundreds will no longer have sprinkling systems in them, and that not going to send the price down, right? Because it is hard to understand, short of accepting the fact that it has to be some, in my opinion, money laundering driving the price of apartments and things in the Cayman Islands, and not only the price of them, but the sheer numbers that are being built, right? I mean, when you see a 2-bedroom apartment being advertised for close to $300,000 or $300,000 plus, and now it's not going to have a sprinkling system in it, So those are the kind of things, and then again, I managed to get they were bringing in the under the building code the international swimming pool and spa regulations. And one of the things that requires is you have a 4-foot minimum fence around all your pools and spas and your little hot tub and all that kind of stuff. And they said that they amended it so that it would not apply to single family houses and dwelling houses.
Okay.
Again, you have to wonder what's the point, and it wouldn't apply to hotels. They have to once they can submit some management. So why bring it in if it's not going to apply to anybody, right? And if I have concerns that we've had some accidents of kids and stuff falling in pool. But I mean, you can buy an electronic thing and put it in your pool, and if a leaf falls in it, it'll go off. Much as some child. But if we're not going to require these things, why put it in? Why put it in regulation? You know.
Yeah. Okay.
So there seems to be too many things going on that are affecting Caymanians in an adverse way, while seeming to be making the road to profit easier for the developer.
Okay. Time for us to take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
World War II left little of the world untouched by the chaos, and the Cayman Islands were no different. It is estimated that 1,000 Caymanian men, or 2/3 of the adult male population, was in active service during World War II. Although there were significant effects at home by the absence of this high number of men, those serving abroad were able to acquire new skills and to send home money to their families. Although the Cayman Islands were never a direct target of the enemy, the Americans did set up a small base in Georgetown between 1942 until 1945. In May 1942, the German U-boat campaign brushed our shores when it torpedoed the United Fruit Company's steamer, the Cayamagua. Captain Eugene Thompson of the Simboco was ordered by Commissioner Jones to rescue the survivors.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Rotary Central Music Extravaganza tickets are moving like a hold glass of swanky on a hot Cayman-Brac day. Get your tickets now from Rotary Central members, Rotary ticket sellers, eventpro.ky, Funky Tanks, A.L. Thompson's Home Depot, Mango Tree Restaurant, Seabird's Bar, Eastern Avenue, Tashara Lewis in Cayman-Brac. Get your golden tickets. Get ready to be a winner. Stand your chance to win $40,000. Second prize, $4,000. 6 $1,000 prizes and more. The Music Extravaganza 2020. Building bus shelters throughout the Cayman Islands, supporting over 70 Rotary community projects. Rotary Central, not-for-profit number 232. Rotary opens opportunity.
Stronger, wider, higher, lighter. The all-new Ford Ranger Raptor. Powerfully built with a 2.0 diesel Panther engine and 210 horsepower. Modern with leather interior and 8-inch touchscreen, Sync 3 technology and power features. Tough, built to handle the off-road with 4-wheel drive, terrain modes, and a 10-speed automatic transmission. Coming early October to Vamped Motors, Walkers Road. To find out more and to test drive the bold new Ford Ranger Raptor, visit Vamped Motors, Walkers Road, or call 949-8288.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
It was a day that changed my life. No words can describe the feelings of seeing my baby boy sick for the first time. The overwhelming feeling of fear to be responsible for his health and happiness became my priority. So I did what any nurturing mother would do when their baby is sick. I took him to get some of the best medicine possible.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
Did you know the third most important factor for customer retention is cleanliness? With 95% of shoppers saying exterior appliance influences where they decide to shop. Keep your business clean with Roper's Janitorial. From offices to restaurants, interior and exterior, walls to rugs and flooring. Roper's cleans it all, including 24-hour emergency service. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511 or email janitorial@ropers.ky. Dress your business for success with Roper's Janitorial. We make your business shine. 949-2511. Roper's, providing products and services for better public health.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Bracken, Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, MLA Mr. Ezard Miller. Mr. Miller, you were talking about the building codes and the amendment to that.
One of the other things that I managed to get changed in the building code was they brought an amendment which would allow the planning director to appoint anyone to be basically a fire code inspector or a building code inspector. And I argued and managed to get that changed, that he can only appoint members of the planning department staff.
Okay.
My view is that if we need more inspectors, instead of going out to any third party or going out to the public, we recruit Caymanians and put them in there and train them. We have a lot of young Caymanians who just graduated from Clifton High School. A lot of them have building qualifications, electrical qualifications, plumbing, exams that they took. They can easily be trained. Of course, the other two big pieces of legislation that was approved, again, I managed to get some amendments to both of them, was the legislative management law, which separates the legislative assembly from the administration. So we have actually three independent arms of government, which is required under the Westminster system of government. I managed to get in what I believe are some very important changes in there, particularly for the protections of the civil servants who currently work there or for other people. Because one of the problems we have had with the creating of these various authorities and statutory companies of government is that the board that we appoint and the CEOs tend to take them out of government health insurance programs and pension programs because it gives them additional choice, which should not happen, because the hospital is supposed to be charging the same rates that everybody else charging. If they're charging less, that's their bad management. So the government needs to go around, and I've suggested this to several ministers now over the years, and negotiate with the private providers to accept cynical cards. And the private providers that I talk to would be willing to do that, be glad to get a business. But they take them out, and then when they get 60 now, because they can't get private insurance after 60, they all want to come back into the government scheme. So I tried to make sure that in setting this thing up too, we were in strict adherence to the Public Authorities Law, but we were also in strict adherence to the Public Financial Management Law, and more importantly to the Public Service Management Law. For instance, one of the things that they brought was that when it came to disputes, they would be handled to some undefined international standards. I don't think that is right. We have plenty of experience of handling stuff like that within the public service management through the what's the committee called again? The Public
Service Commission.
Yeah, so that should be the reference point, and all of the staff benefits, i.e., health insurance, should be the same as provided under the Public Service Management Law.
Okay.
So that there's standardization across the
so
stuff, right?
The staff then would no longer be considered civil servants?
No.
Okay.
But they should have. But my argument is that yes, they're not civil servants because they're now employed by this independent body. Just like the civil servants in the Port Authority, the Airport Authority, are not really civil servants, but their employment conditions, in my view, and I was successful in getting that amendment made, should be exactly the same as all civil servants.
Now,
because it's a government-owned body.
What about their pensions? Where would they still participate in the government pension scheme? Okay.
Absolutely, because that's what the Public Service Management Law provides. That's why I linked it to the Public Service Management Law, because in the 90s when I was talking about pensions, the private sector was badmouthing the government scheme and everything else, right? Today now, given the experience of private pensions and the government the public service pension scheme is the standard to which we should aspire all plans to be up to, right? So those were, I think, were important changes. I wanted some changes to the structure of the council. I was not successful in getting those because I believe that the council should be the overarching body. And that should be, my view is that the chairman should be the premier and the deputy chairman should be the leader of the opposition. And that should be like a board of directors, right? And then the speaker is an employee of that body who basically would run the Legislative Assembly as a chief officer or as a collateral, as a minister does. In a minister, you're responsible for the operation of your ministry. The chief officer is in charge of all the administration and implementation of policy and stuff like that. But how we structured this is that the speaker is actually the chairman of that council, and I think that could cause some issues down the road, particularly if we bring a speaker from the outside. But I was not successful in arguing that case, so I don't get all the amendments. The defense bill, again, I filed quite a number of amendments. The government accepted the major ones. So,
can we go back to the building codes for a second? Because it appears as if, and give me your take on it. You spoke about the ability, for the ordinary person who's building, a duplex, possibly staying in one side of it and renting the other part out. It seems as if the big contractors, the developers, they seem to be the ones who have more input in legislation and the ability to lobby for changes that benefit them. And unless we have legislators who are out there looking for the ordinary person,
I mean,
they're all in most instances they're left out.
I can't imagine any Caymanian going to government and says, "I need you to put extra expense on of me hiring a land surveyor to lay out my house." Right? That has to be something that came from either the land surveying body or the developers themselves. And members of government do not think all these things up. It's because somebody comes and asks for it, right, and lobbies for it. And many of the changes to these things are a result of complaints by the developers, etc., etc. And this is why the People's Party promotes participatory democracy, because none of this was discussed in public. The only public discussion of this was the meeting I had in Northside, and I had architects at that meeting who knew nothing that was being done.
Okay.
Right. So not even the industry stakeholders seem to have been consulted on many of these things. And I mean, what the changing of Georgetown and allowing 10-story buildings in all these areas and all that, those are the kind of things. When our forefathers done the development plan in the 70s, it was designed that no changes would be made without acceptance by the people. But we're making all this at a request of somebody.
Yeah. Okay. Top of the hour. Head 8 o'clock news. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time by Price Right is 7:59.
Want to win big just in time for Christmas? Priced Right is giving away 6 $250 Priced Right gift cards in their Black Friday giveaway.
To enter, just spend $100 or more from now until November 25th and submit your entry online with your receipt.
If you win, you could spend it on Christmas presents, upgrading your TV, groceries, or spend it all on yourself.
For more info, go to pricedright.ky.
Get in store now for the Black Friday giveaway at Priced Right. Live better for less.
Terms and conditions apply. Promotion only valid at Price Right at the Airport Center.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Did you know that between May and August 31st, in support of the COVID-19 Emergency Withdrawal Program, the Chamber Pension Plan leveraged IT and human resources to successfully review over 16,000 member applications, approve over 12,000 applications, and paid over CI $130 million to our plan members. We are the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, and we're here for you. For further information regarding the Emergency Withdrawal Program, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The Quarantine at Home program is expanded to the Sister Islands. Radio Cayman's April Cummings reports.
Effective November 7th, travelers residing in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman will be permitted to quarantine at their residence. The Cayman Islands government says it extended the option to the Sister Islands because of the success of the pilot program in Grand Cayman. Sister Islands residents who meet the established criteria will be able to spend the mandatory 14-day quarantine period at home, provided they agree to wear monitoring technology and their homes have been pre-approved by public health. If they reside with other people, all members of the household will be quarantined at the same time and are subject to the same requirements as the traveler. To facilitate the program's implementation in the Sister Islands, the process in place in Grand Cayman will be replicated in the BRAC, but on a smaller scale, and will be managed by the Ministry of District Administration. Teams are already in the process of being trained to undertake the various responsibilities, including PCR testing at the airport, fitting travelers with their wristbands, onboarding them to the geofencing platform, and carrying out the monitoring and compliance requirements, as well as conducting random spot checks. April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
You can find the full details at exploregov.ky. Cayman Airways has scheduled 2 flights from Miami on Friday, November 20th and Friday, December 4th, which will stop in Cayman Brac to allow passengers to disembark before heading to Grand Cayman. For health and safety reasons, no passengers will be allowed to board the flight in Cayman Brac. Officials say, based on demand, more flights will be added in the future. And leading experts on Cayman's anti-money laundering framework are set to offer refresher training sessions for the local compliance and risk management industry. Here's Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego with more.
Founder of Risk Pask AML Compliance Limited, Anjali Mali, and Director of FTS, Paul Biles, are former regulators of the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority and have worked in the compliance and risk management sector for the past 15 years. They'll be leading out in the refresher training session come Thursday, November 25th, and the key training session offers the rare opportunity for attendees to learn from both speakers on the various changes to the country's anti-money laundering regime. Mr. Biles notes in a press release the purpose of the session is not only to provide an overview of recent legislative and regulatory updates, but also to identify the changes that local compliance experts and directors need to incorporate into their existing systems to be compliant. Mr. Biles adds that while some local professionals will be aware of the changes, it's not always the case that they have incorporated necessary updates into their existing systems and procedures. He says the approach taken with this training session is to pinpoint the areas where changes need to be made and explore how how these changes can be incorporated. He says he's hoping that this is where we'll be able to add value for compliance professionals. The session will take place from 9 a.m. until 12:30 p.m., again on Thursday, November 25th. It will be carried out via Zoom. Those interested can sign up at www.ftskman.com/events. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with David Harper. 41 US states have posted or projected results in the presidential election, but the overall result is still unclear and will remain so for some time. Nevada, where the Democratic challenger Joe Biden holds a slim lead, will not resume counting till Thursday. 3 key Rust Belt states, Wisconsin, Michigan and Pennsylvania, have also yet to declare. Both President Trump and Mr. Biden have said they are on course for victory, while Mr. Trump has promised that any attempt to frustrate his win will be taken to the Supreme Court. He has not presented any evidence of fraud. Mr. Biden's campaign team described Mr. Trump's attempts to stop the count as outrageous. The German defense minister has said the situation in the United States is explosive after Tuesday's election. Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer warned that the tight race could lead to a constitutional crisis. The French finance minister Bruno Le Maire, however, has played down the significance of the vote for Europe. In other news, there's growing international concern over the situation in Ethiopia's Tigray region, where the government says military operations have begun and the Prime Minister has declared a state of emergency. Abiy Ahmed has accused the local government of attacking federal troops. The United States and Britain have called for an immediate de-escalation. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a not-for-profit, member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. We have an all-in expense ratio of less than 1%, over 20,000 members, and $490 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s, and today we are still strong, secure, and are here for our employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or require further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Do you remember when 2020 was great?
I don't think it was...
2020 vision, not the year.
Right.
Make 2020 great again with Optical Outlook, the new West Bay store now open. With their designer frames and sunglasses, eye health has never looked so good. Call 746-2020 and book your eye exam today at Caymanian Village and now at Jake Scott Plaza in West Bay, offering premier eye care in Cayman for over 30 years. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook.
Rotary Central Music Extravaganza tickets are moving like a hold glass of swanky on a hot Cayman Brack day. Get your tickets now from Rotary Central members, Rotary ticket sellers, eventpro.ky, Funky Tanks, A.L. Thompson's Home Depot, Mango Tree Restaurant, Seabirds Bar, Eastern Avenue, Tashara Lewis in Cayman Brack. Get your golden tickets. Get ready to be a winner. Stand your chance to win $40,000. Second prize $4,000. 6 $1,000 prizes and more. The Music Extravaganza 2020. Building bus shelters throughout the Cayman Islands, supporting over 70 Rotary community projects. Rotary Central, not-for-profit number 232. Rotary opens opportunity.
Radio Cayman Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio. Enjoy your mix of pop, hip-hop,
dance hall, urban gospel.
The Super Jam Show is
brought to you by these kind sponsors.
The Cayman Islands Football Association, CIFA, building a better future for Cayman football.
Cayman Insurance Center. Don't take chances with your family's future.
Dragon Inn Restaurant in Countryside Plaza. Dine in or call 947-1166 to place your order. And The University of the West Indies Open Campus.
Find your place in the Cayman Dream today. The UWI Open Campus, on-site, online, and on demand.
Visit open.uwi.edu. Call them today at 946-8322.
Radio Cayman Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by Encourse Cayman. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking, change your life. Developing your emotional awareness can have profound effects on your life.
As Daniel Goleman said in his book entitled Emotional Intelligence, people who cannot marshal some control over their emotional life fight inner battles that sabotage their ability for focused work and clear thought, whereas people with well-developed emotional skills are more likely to be content and effective in their lives, mastering the habits of mind that foster their own productivity.
Change your thinking, change your life.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by Encourse Cayman. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. Encourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 78 degrees. Relative humidity is 90%. Barometric pressure is 29.987 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east at 11 knots. Overnight low temperature was 75 degrees. Synopsis indicate intermittent showers along with fresh to strong easterly winds and rough seas are expected across the Cayman area for the next few days as Tropical Storm Eta moves across Nicaragua and Honduras. Radar images show scattered showers in and around the Cayman area, which are moving towards the west to southwest. The National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, is issuing advisories on Tropical Storm Eta, which at 7 this morning was located at 13.8 north, 84.7 west. It's about 438 miles south-southwest of Grand Cayman, with maximum winds of 70 miles per hour, and is moving west at 8 miles per hour. If you need additional information on the system, you can always visit www.nhc.noaa.gov. The Cayman Islands National Weather Service will continue to monitor the progress of this system. Now the forecast for today calling for overcast skies with intermittent showers and some thunder, and showers will become locally heavy, leading to possible flooding of low-lying areas. Temperatures will be in the mid-80s. Winds will be easterly 20 to 25 knots with higher gusts in and around heavy showers, and seas will be rough with wave heights of 6 to 8 feet with higher swells, especially on the east and southerly exposed coast. A small craft warning remains in effect for today and tonight as well. And the forecast for tonight, overcast skies with an 80% chance of showers and some thunder, and showers will be locally heavy at times, leading to possible flooding of low-lying areas. Temperatures will fall to the mid-70s tonight. Winds will be east to northeast at 15 to 20 knots with higher gusts in and around heavy showers, and seas will be rough with wave heights of 5 to 7 feet with higher swells, especially on the east and southerly exposed coast for tonight as well. Today's high tide will be at 4 minutes past 12 this afternoon, low tide this evening at 6:25, and a high tide again tonight at 10:39. The sun will set this evening at 5:49 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:29. And the outlook through Friday evening is calling for continuing inclement weather conditions associated with Tropical Storm Eta as it is expected to linger over Honduras.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look what's happening on our roads. Some roads are wet, so please drive with extra care. If you're coming from the east on Shamrock Road, busy traffic and traffic slow moving on the Linford Pearson Highway. A lot of patience needed this morning as you're headed down to Georgetown. Coming off of the Linford Pearson Highway on Agnes Way, traffic is busy, and busy traffic coming off of Bobby Thompson Way as well. Looking towards Northstown Road in the vicinity of the Butterfield Roundabout, traffic is busy in all directions on Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, traffic flowing moderately. From the West Bay 4-way stop, light to moderate traffic flow and light traffic on Owen Roberts Drive. On the Esterly Tibbetts Highway, steady traffic, especially heading to the Butterfield Roundabout. And on Huldah Avenue, traffic also steady. Looking towards Godfrey Nixon Way, traffic is flowing moderately, and on Edward Street, traffic flowing at a good pace, as well as on Shedden Road. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll give you another traffic outlook. Have a good morning and buckle up.
It's the return of the sub of the day. Come into any Subway location and order the 6-inch sub of the day for only $3.50, or get the full meal for just $6.
Wow, a meal in Cayman for only $6?
Yes, and it's never been easier to get your favorites from Subway. Just stop in, message WhatsApp at 929-4658, order online, or use Let's Eat or the Bento app. Check out their Facebook or Instagram for the latest store hours. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Introducing the new Digicel Prime bundles, better than anything we've offered before, with more data than ever, more music on the music, more live sports on Sportsmax, more movies on Playgo, more video chats on BIP. With the new Digicel Prime bundles, it's never been easier to get more digital experiences, plus extra data. Get 50 gigabytes with a 7-day bundle. So much data, so much fun. Buy in My Digicel app today, the Caribbean's fastest mobile network. Digicel, better together.
What a great spot for lunch. I haven't been here in ages.
I saw it on Experience Cayman.
What's that?
It's a free online festival showcasing all the great things to do in Cayman.
Oh, that's so cool. I'll check it out for sure. Now, what are we having for lunch?
Experience Cayman is a celebration of everything local to rediscover all the best things to see and do in the Cayman Islands. Visit gov.ky/Experience Cayman and follow Experience Cayman on Facebook and Instagram. Brought to you by the Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure.
Shaken yet standing firm.
I was not built to break.
This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orit Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning MLA Mr. Ezard Miller. We've been discussing mainly the proceedings in the Legislative Assembly, which has now been prorogued or...
No, just adjourned.
Adjourned, just
until
adjourned.
the 4th of December.
Until the 4th of December.
Yeah.
Okay. There were several issues that came up, and there was one that I had the opportunity to listen to, and I believe Cayman News Service, as well as other print media, have carried the story about the Speaker's refusal to lay a Public Accounts Committee report on the off-reg audit, to lay that on the table of the Legislative Assembly, to table it. And as a result of that, does that prevent it from becoming a public document?
Well, that is debatable, but that was one of the worst things that has happened in the Legislative Assembly in all the time that I've been there. Because if that decision is allowed to stand, what that means is that no more Auditor General's reports or Public Accounts Committee reports can be laid unless the Speaker expressly agrees with it. I can find no standing order which allows the Speaker to edit a report of a committee from the House. When I asked, because let me explain to the public what happened.
Sure.
The Public Accounts Committee sent 5 reports to Business Committee, which is what we have to do. If we have a report that we wish to table in the Legislative Assembly, we have to send it to the Business Committee. The Business Committee has to decide whether they accept the report, and the report is put on the order paper.
Okay.
So we tabled 5 reports. 3 reports were our annual reports. There's a standing order that requires every standing committee of the Legislative Assembly to table an annual report of its activities.
Okay.
The only standing committee of the current Legislative Assembly that has done that for the last 3-4 years is the Public Accounts Committee.
Okay. What are the other standing committees that we have?
Well, we have the House Committee, no report. We have the Privileges Committee, no report. We have the committee that manages and supervises the ombudsman and that whole category. I think they have tabled 1 or 2 reports,
okay.
Right? But and we had to table 3 because of administrative problems, because this is something that I insist on doing, right? But because of some mess ups in administration, we had to go and do them all over and retable them because I wanted them done properly.
Okay.
So we tabled the 2017 and 2017, 2018, 2019 reports. In addition to those 3 reports, we sent to the Business Committee the Office of the Auditor General's report on the efficiency and effectiveness of the Utility Regulatory and Competition (OFREG),
okay,
along with the Public Accounts reports. Now, what the standing order says is, and let me quote it because I don't want to mislead anybody. The Public Accounts Committee is governed in our standing orders by Standing Order 77.
Okay.
Right, and it says, there shall be a standing committee to be styled a Public Accounts Committee to consider the reports of the Auditor General, A, on the accounts of the government, B, on such other accounts required to be laid before the House as the committee may think fit, and on any matter incidental to the performance of his duties or the exercise of his powers as the committee may think fit.
Okay.
Public accounts shall be nominated by the House and the beginning area for a 4-year thing, right? 3, but this is the important one. 3, upon its receipt by the Speaker, a report mentioned in paragraph 1 shall be deemed to have been referred by the House to the Public Accounts Committee for consideration and shall forthwith be distributed to all members and shall become a public document. Now, that is the Auditor General's report.
Yes.
So that the off-reg Auditor General report is already in the public domain.
Okay.
Because that was a compromise done by the Public Accounts Committee when they didn't want to sit down and do the work to deal with the Dan Bouquet reports, right?
Okay.
Okay. Then it goes on talking about who we can call and who we can't call, right? And then Section 9, which is the standing order that I think protects the Public Accounts Committee reports, and that standing order says, notwithstanding Standing Order 7-4, the report of the Public Accounts shall be deemed to have been agreed to. There's nothing in none of these standing orders that says the Speaker has to agree with the report or that the Speaker can edit the report. Now, when we look at Standing Order 7-4, because there's a number of sections of the standing order that deal with committees. Section 7-4, 2 says, a report of a select committee may contain the opinions and observations of the committee and may be accompanied by the minutes of evidence taken before it. Now, there are no opinions in the report that we're trying to table. All of our recommendations are based on fact that is demonstrated in the evidence we received in the public hearings. Now, all of that is already in the public domain, right? The only thing that is not in the public domain is the actual recommendations that the Public Accounts Committee has crafted and is making for the government to consider based on the evidence that was provided to us. Now, again, you would have thought that then, and this was circulated to members. This business paper was business paper number 19, which was dated the 20th of October 2020. Now, for the last week and a half, there's been whisperings around the corridors of the LA that the Speaker was not going to allow this report to be tabled. So you would have thought that during that period of time...
But it was placed on the order paper?
Yeah. No, it was not placed on the order paper. He stopped it
from
placed,
going on the order.
But it was approved by the Business Committee.
Okay.
Because the Business Committee circulated it on business paper number 19.
Okay.
No business can be put on an order paper by the staff, right? Unless it is approved by the Business Committee and it is circulated to members on what's called a business paper, right? There is no standing order that allows the Speaker to intervene between the Business Committee approving something to be put on an order paper and the staff actually putting it on an order paper, right? That I can find. So, but what I'm saying is you would have thought that during that period of time, the Speaker would have had ready, because he must expect that I'm going to ask for the standing order that gives him the authority to refuse the table report. So what happened was when the order paper was circulated for that day, the Friday the 30th of October, on the order paper was the 3 annual reports from the Public Accounts Committee. But the other 2 was not on the order paper.
Okay.
Now, under the assumption, because we had planned to finish Parliament on Friday, that was what we were all working towards. Other than wasting time, we could have done it, right? So I asked, as a matter of procedure, why the 2 reports were not on this order paper, assuming that this was the last sitting of this meeting. And the Speaker said he decided it wasn't going there. Right, so and I'm not trying to quote verbatim here. I'm just explaining and summarizing. So I then said, well, I would like first of all to move a motion that those 2 reports be moved forward to the next meeting, which he ignored and never allowed the motion to be voted or anything else. Right. I also asked if he could please identify to me the standing order which gave him the authority to do that. Now, you would have thought that making all these plans to do this, he would have, if there was a standing order, he would have had it ready to hand and would have been delighted.
You would have all your ducks lined up.
To quote the standing order. But he couldn't do that because there's no such standing order. So what he said was because he had to order it, right? Which is a simple response to me laying it on the table, right? So ordered, right? That he had the right to not so order it, right? But I mean that's a strange interpretation because not even that is in the standing order. That's just a formality. Right? So where we're at now is that I have, based on what happened, which I think was wrong. I don't think there's any authority in the standing orders for the Speaker to do what he did. I have called a meeting of the Public Accounts Committee for tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I have, in the meantime, with the approval of the members of the committee, through a round robin, I have written a letter to the Honourable Attorney General asking for a legal opinion on what sections of the standing orders could possibly be used by the Speaker to make this precedent-setting ruling. Because the public need to understand what this means. If this is allowed to stand as a precedent in our Parliament, it means that no future report that the government can convince the Speaker or the Speaker himself can decide should not be laid on the public will not be laid. And that defeats the whole purpose of public scrutiny of government finances and performance and everything else. So that's the real danger in it. So as chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, I have to do whatever I can within the rules to try and make sure the report gets tabled. So we have a meeting, and I'm hoping to get the opinion of the Honourable Attorney General by the meeting on tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And we will then decide, what we will have to do, I would think as a minimum, is we will have to resubmit it to the business committee, since he did not allow it to be preserved, to go to the next meeting, which is a process that allows for questions and motions and all that sort of stuff to be preserved. We will have to resubmit it to the business committee again. So that's not a difficult thing. And I don't know what the issue is, because you would have thought that just out of courtesy, if the speaker was going to do that, he would have spoke to me as chairman of the account, right? So I was totally shocked, right, when it was not on the paper and when on the rationale that he gave about why it was being done. I can assure you and the general public, right? One, there is no inflammatory language in the report. There is nothing in the report that is not substantiated in the evidence that we were given in the public hearing, which is already all in the public domain. We have, since we've gotten a new clerk to the Public Accounts Committee, we have reoriented the way we make our, to make the public easier to understand it, make our recommendations. Before we just simply say the PSC recommends. What this report, which is the first one of it, is it lays out the evidence that is in the Hansard attached, which is the verbatim transcript of what was said. And then we draw the conclusion as a recommendation for that evidence. So I have no fear that I am making something up, or anything else. Nor the committee. The committee is not in the business of trying to inflame. You know that this particular committee in particular, we have bent over backwards to try and work collaboratively with the government to correct the problems identified by the Auditor General. And I say with pride that we have made much progress. We have this year, we have 40 out of 42 entities in government getting unqualified accounts. We have even taken the step as a committee to providing them with certificates and all that as a show of appreciation for the hard work that they're doing. Remember when I took over this committee in 2009, we hadn't had accounts for 5 years, right? So this event, right, is troubling, it is worrying, and it has far-reaching effects in my view. So I think me as chairman has to give the committee every opportunity to decide how we're going to handle this, and we should handle it within the scope of the standing orders and within the scope of the legal interpretation of the standing orders. So that's where we are.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. Before we do, in the CNS article, it is quoted here, House Speaker McKeever Bush said that he had not had time to examine all of the quote-unquote matters connected to it.
But that's not
I'll ask you to comment on that when we return from the commercial break. Yeah. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
I grew up in a Canadian village with a general store that had just about anything you could ever need. That's what I'm reminded of every time I go into West Bay Pharmacy. It's not just because it's well stocked with necessities and oddities, but also because it's like our community hub. The staff treat customers like friends. Ron and the team of pharmacists have kept my family patched up and flu-free for years, and there are usually a few good laughs mixed in. They are truly taking care of my health and my family's health. West Bay Pharmacy is the very best of Cayman kind.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Green Turtle,
Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
Stronger, wider, higher, lighter. The all-new Ford Ranger Raptor.
Powerfully built with a 2.0 diesel Panther engine and 210 horsepower. Modern with leather interior, an 8-inch touchscreen, Sync 3 technology, and power features. Tough. Built to handle the off-road with 4-wheel drive, terrain modes, and 10-speed automatic transmission. Coming early October to Vamped Motors, Walkers Road. To find out more and to test drive the bold new Ford Ranger Raptor, visit Vamped Motors, Walkers Road, or call 949-8288.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Oh, Cayman moon.
The voice of the Cayman Islands, Radio Cayman.
Shining down from above.
We love our listeners. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA, Mr. Ezra Miller. We have a few callers on hold. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Not bad. I believe that the legislative management bill should have been rushed the way it was. That's too important to deal with in that way. And what Mr. Miller is talking about regarding the actions of the Speaker in regards to not allowing the report to be laid on the table is a good example as to why better considerations for good governance needed to have gone into that bill. On the issue of the defense bill, Mr. Miller.
Yes, sir.
Was the provision that would allow the governor to circumvent the immigration law amended?
I think so.
I'm not sure.
Well, these things, you table amendments and they come back with some amendments and they're just passed through, right? So I will confess to you that I have not had the chance to because then I got to sit down and take the bill and put the amendments that they have into it and work it all out. But I'm fearless. I think that they say that it is confined now to residents and Caymanians, not people on work permit. But they retain the overarching clause that the governor can basically appoint who he wants, And I raised the point that I know they had hired one work permit holder.
No, but that's the point. That is the provision that does allow the governor to, because you see when you read the bill, right, you get this impression that it's to Caymanians or those on permanent residence.
Mm-hmm.
But then
that's what we were told. That's the way it's been sold to the public.
Yes, but then when you go to the second, so 2 sections down from, I don't remember what it's called. Don't have it in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, they have it broken up in ways that when you read one section, it gives you one impression, and then when you read another section, it basically says that unless the governor does this.
But you see, what they're hiding behind, in my view, is this overarching thing of Section 55, in that defense is the total and sole prerogative of the governor and his discretion. I think that is wrong. I believe we have a duty to influence his decision-making process and confine that, because I wanted several other amendments which I did not get, i.e., I don't think he should be embodying the regiment or sending the regiment to other countries, including overseas territories, without the express approval of the National Security Council. I can't imagine a situation where he would need to embody the regiment that if it was that the National Security Council would not agree. But again, I think we should give them the authority to do that. But you see, what they're concerned about there is because in the constitutional changes that we're hoping to get through the Order and Privy Council in the next couple of days, makes a change to the National Security Council. That change is that the governor must now accept the advice of the National Security Council. Before, it was, we didn't have meetings, because you remember I had to publicly challenge Governor Kilpatrick of why the National Security Council wasn't meeting, although she had appointed me as a member,
Right.
Well, but there's quite a few things in the bill that I want to change that I didn't get changed.
Go ahead, Colin.
The problem with that is, I think, when you're deciding to send people off to war, I think who gets to make that decision needs to be a wider body than just a few people.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the Congress in the U.S. declares war even though the president is the commander-in-chief.
Mm-hmm.
Under emergency circumstances, he can engage in war for up to 3 months, but after that needs the Congress's approval. And what I'm saying is that having too small a number of people send our people off to war, I don't think that's wise. But the provision that allows the governor to circumvent the immigration law, I think, is a very dangerous one, and one that the UK may very well use down the road regarding
but
this
that's not.
belongership
But I mean, it is more serious in this because we're setting up this regiment. But right now, the immigration law doesn't apply to government hiring people,
And not only that, there's a section, it used to be there, I haven't checked recently, but when it talks about work permits, it says this law does not apply to members of Her Majesty's Armed Forces as well. That provision
you
is
see,
in there.
I wanted the regiment confined to what we were told it was going to be, a body of Caymanians, because I also file a person that I don't want residents in either. I just want Caymanians, right? Yeah. And was for disaster help, right? And some assistance to the security, similar to how the auxiliary police work under the. For instance, if we had another riot at the prison, these people could be like the. What I just used, like senior moment, the auxiliary police. What about the correct word is from now? Right, but they could assist the police. They can assist the police now. They can
special counsel.
But I wanted it confined to those two roles. I filed an amendment to delete the section that referred to defense of the island, and also to delete the section that says on any other purpose that the governor may want them for. The other big concern I had about the bill, which I didn't succeed in getting changed, was that we set up this board, but I did get some of how the board is structured changed, because that in itself was very dangerous, and that the governor could just walk into a board meeting and take over the chairmanship. All of that is gone now. He can't do that. Mm-hmm. But what is the purpose of the board, right? there's majority of the things that the governor does other than related to defense. The governor should not, in my view, be involved in the administration of the regiment. That's what the board should be doing, promoting people, disciplining people, and all those sorts of stuff. That should be prerogative of the board, not the governor.
The premier said that his responsibilities and the governor's responsibilities in relation to defense has to do with the islands. So he feels that it's an internal matter also. And so you have a situation where the governor is responsible for the police, but look at the extensive things that cabinet can do, including vast powers regarding regulations and so forth that the government can do in relation to internal defense, which is essentially what the police does.
Fighting crime. And,
Caller, I want to thank you very much. We have to go to commercial break now. We do have another caller, but thanks for that insight, and I hope and I trust that Mr. Miller has clarified some of the concerns that you may have as well. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we will engage the next caller, so please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
No, man. My bill seem huge again, and I don't know what to do about it. I gotta look some help.
We can help. The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure has teamed up with CUC to give you the chance to win a home energy makeover worth up to $20,000. Not only will this lower your utility bills, it will increase your home's value. We are also giving away 8 home energy audits worth up to $1,900 each. Open to all homeowners in Grand Cayman. Entry is now open via www.energy.gov.ky/competition. Proudly sponsored by CEL Cooling, Mitsubishi, Phone Pros, Cooling Pros, and more. Use less, save more. Enter today. It's time to buy smart. It's time to buy Ropers. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices at Ropers, your neighborhood store. Value, integrity. Ropers also offers complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time. 122 Industrial Way, 949-2511, or email janitorial@ropers.ky. Clean up your spending with Ropers and stay prepared. 949-2511. Ropers, providing products and services for better public health.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Digital is not a buzzword, it is a culture. At Digicel, we've made it our mission to enrich your digital lives. That's why we're bringing together more of all the experiences you love. The latest shows, the best of local and international music and radio, live sports, cloud storage, breaking news, HD video chats, and more. Welcome to Digital at Digicel, the Caribbean's fastest mobile network. Digicel, better together.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going straight to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O'Connor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Miller.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, when it comes to government finances, is it Kenneth Jefferson, then Mr. Mark Taggart, then Tara Rivers, then you, and then the Auditor General, or how does it go?
Wait, I don't know. I don't follow you. What do you mean if it's?
You talk about order of precedence?
Or
Yes.
Well, that doesn't apply to that kind of relationship. Here, the financial secretary, Mr. Jefferson, is the chief officer. He runs a department of not financial services. Financial services is something different, which is under Minister Tara Rivers, right? Honorable Tara Rivers. But the government accounts is under Honorable Mike Tigert as the minister, and Mr. Jefferson is his chief officer. So the system works this way. The staff in the Ministry of Finance under Mr. Ken Jefferson prepares a budget. Now we're doing a 2-year budget, not 1 year. That budget is presented to Parliament by the Minister of Finance, the Honorable Mike Tigert. Parliament discusses it. We go through an elaborate process of committee analysis of all this stuff. The budget is approved. It is then Mr. Jefferson's job to spend the money in accordance with what was approved in the Legislative Assembly, because only the Legislative Assembly can authorize expenditure by government. Now, there is a section in the Public Finance Law, I think it's Section 11, which allows the ministers in Cabinet to spend, I believe it's 10% of the total budget in an emergency situation, but they have to come back to get it ratified. You will recall in this last sitting, you had every minister got up in relation to the COVID expenses and explain why they had to spend it at that time, and now asking the thing. Then the Auditor General goes in and looks to determine whether the money was spent in accordance with the budget approval, and then the Auditor General also does a separate exercise on whether there has been value for money. The off-reg report was based on the efficiency and effectiveness of off-reg. We have a report that is pending in terms of the capital development at the airport, which the Auditor General has gone in, and we will be looking at that very soon, as to whether, in the Auditor General's opinion, we got value for money.
Caller? So what role do you play then, Mr. Miller?
I am only the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. Public Accounts Committee is the body is set up in the Legislative Assembly to evaluate whether government expenditure based on the audit reports or any other accounts that are published by government. We have the government now publishes quarterly reports. We can take that quarterly report and go through it and call witnesses in public if we want to determine whether the expenditure being reported is accurate and whether we're getting value for money.
They have what you call oversight.
Yeah, we call in parliamentary language, we're the scrutineers of the government expenditure. That's the final arbitrator of whether it was spent correctly or not.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. A little lesson in civics there for everybody, which is good. Good question. Okay, one of our listeners wrote in and said, can you please ask Mr. Miller if there is any update in relation to the beach access law changes? That would be the
prescription law and the
prescription law.
Both of those, to propose changes to the prescription law and to the land registry law, which is designed by the government to facilitate the registration of these beach accesses, was withdrawn because of, I would assume, of public expressed concerns, and they're supposed to be represented in the meeting that starts on the 4th of December. But it would give the minister time to look at the additional concerns being expressed by the public to make sure that we try and get it right.
So they will come back in the same form?
Not
necessarily. He may make amendments.
Well, they can do it one or two ways. They could
because the debate took place on
no
debate took place.
They were on the order paper.
Yes, okay.
Right? But let me tell you how serious it is and how limited the speaker's authority over the order paper is, right? Now, even though the minister wanted to withdraw those two bills, which were placed on the order paper based on the approval of the business committee, the minister had to get up in Parliament and seek leave of the House by motion to withdraw the bills from the order paper. So she could not go to the speaker and say, I want you to take these two things off, and he can take them off, right? Although you would think that certainly would be, you would think, more appropriate than him deciding, independent of talking to me, that he taking the PSC report off. But not even that can the speaker do, right? So what she asked was the leave of the House to withdraw the bills. Now, she can do one or two things. If she wants to resubmit them in the same form, and having done amendments that she can file during the committee stage of the bill, right? Because the bills have already been circulated in 21 days. If she makes substantial changes to the bill, then it needs to be, and she wants to present the changes already in the bill. In my view, she has to re-gazette it for the 21 days.
Okay.
And I don't think we have 21 days. Well, today is the 11th, so that is 19 days left in this month, right?
And
we go back on the 4th, so it would have to be at a very minimum gazetted by Friday.
Yeah.
To get the 21 days. So I don't suspect that that's what they're going to do. I suspect that they're going to take on board the representation that was made of the bills, and they will draft amendments to the existing bills. So the bills that will be resubmitted or put back on the order paper through the business committee process in December will be the same exact bill, but they will have amendments that they have drafted to accommodate what they accept as genuine concerns by the public.
Okay.
That to me, that would be the most efficient and effective way to do it.
And then still with that, then you would have debate on it, and if there's still committee stage amendments to be made based on that debate, then that would be possible as well.
Because I also saw, I think it was 5 or 6 amendments that I filed to those 2 bills.
Okay. I want to go back to this issue of the speaker and not allowing the report to be tabled. We have seen, well, I think off the air we were able to discuss it, and one of the questions that I would have is that because this is an issue that is within the confines of the Legislative Assembly. You have written to the Attorney General, who is the legal advisor.
To the
right. Are you allowed to go outside of the scope of the Legislative Assembly?
I could probably go as in my personal capacity as a representative for Northside, but I believe if I wanted to do it on behalf of the committee, I would have to get the Attorney General's agreement. I believe that's how it would work, because most departments in government can go outside the legal department, but it's usually with the agreement of the Attorney General's office. So I would suspect that would also apply to the Legislative Assembly, to which he is the legal advisor.
Because when if you recall, in the UK Parliament, the Brexit situation, the Speaker there, John Burkhoff, was accused of manipulating the rules of Parliament to actually be able to advocate and to steer the opposition in relation to a bill that the Prime Minister was bringing, and to sort of like throw a monkey wrench into that to prevent that, from happening. And he came under heavy criticism for that. Not only that, but he also paid the price in the fact that the government, the Tories, did not recommend him for a peerage. For a peerage.
I mean, I must tell you that I have not had. There have been other instances where I have asked the Attorney General for advice, and it has been forthcoming. So I don't suspect that to be in a difficulty in that. But I believe that the only way that the committee itself could seek outside advice would be with the approval of the Attorney General, and that would probably be confined to a situation of time, i.e. because they're under so much pressure of work and I want it for 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, that that would be allowed. You know.
And is this the to your knowledge, at least in your experience, is this the first time that this has occurred?
This is the first time that I am aware that any report to be tabled in the Legislative Assembly has been stopped by the Speaker. I don't recall any other situation. Because the standing orders provide a procedure, you know, for us as members if we want to stop a report, right? And it is in 74 subsection 5.
Okay.
It says the report or special report together with a copy of the minutes of proceedings of a select committee shall be presented to the House by the chairman or other member of the committee acting on its behalf, and shall be recorded in the minutes of proceedings of the House as having been so presented, and the chairman or any member may forthwith and without notice move that the recommendations contained therein be adopted, modified, or rejected, and if the motion is seconded or unopposed, the presiding officer may forthwith and without debate put the question thereof. The problem with that is it's debatable.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? and that can only be done after I've read the report. Right? Because you have to state the basis of what it is, and it wouldn't be kosher to move that before I actually read the report and table it.
Got you. Okay.
So, because remember I did this and I used that in Kimmenbrack for the Macy report, the accounts of Macy, because I was concerned about some of the things in the report, and I moved that the report be rejected. Okay. And because the government didn't want it rejected, it had to be debated. Yep. Right?
Top of the hour. Headline news at 9 o'clock. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, with MLA and Mr. Ezra Miller will be back shortly.
Government reported the results of 276 COVID-19 tests on Tuesday. All came back negative. The outcome of the U.S. presidential election is on a knife edge, with Donald Trump and his rival Joe Biden neck and neck in key swing states. Mr. Trump, a Republican, claimed to have won and vowed to launch a Supreme Court challenge baselessly alleging fraud. Earlier, Mr. Biden, a Democrat, said he was, quote, on track to victory. Millions of votes remain uncounted, and no candidate can credibly claim victory as yet. There is no evidence of fraud. The U.S. is on course for the highest electoral turnout in a century. More than 100 million people cast their ballots in early voting before Election Day, and tens of millions added more to their vote on Tuesday. With the nation on edge, the final results may not be known for several days. And Sarah McBride is to become the first transgender state senator in the United States after declaring victory in Delaware. She beat Republican Steve Washington to take over the seat from Democrat Harris McDowell, who's standing down. The 30-year-old has worked as the press secretary of LGBT advocacy group, the Human Rights Campaign, and as a trainee in the White House during the Obama administration. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio K-Man on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio K-Man app or log on to our website, radiokman.gov.ky.
Your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio K-Man.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In studio with me, MLA Mr. Ezra Miller. Mr. Miller, you have read fairly extensively from our standing orders, and you seem satisfied that the standing orders of our Legislative Assembly cover the whole issue. Yeah.
Right,
my question is, so you wouldn't then have the need to refer to Erskine May in terms of procedure?
Yeah, our standing orders are very specific, in that we can only go to Erskine May if the matter is not dealt with in our standing orders.
Mm-hmm.
Once the matter is dealt with in our standing orders, this is the rule.
Yes.
The standing orders are the rule.
Got you.
We can't doctor them according to your interpretation by referring to Erskine May.
Okay, and Erskine May doesn't override.
And I would be surprised if you could find in Erskine May where the Speaker could alter a report from the Public Accounts in the UK committee. Because, that is the most powerful committee in the United Kingdom.
Well, we're soon to be called the Parliament. Then we have to start acting like one, and ensuring that we follow all of the rules.
This was my disappointment in the speeches related to the last meeting of the Legislative Assembly. If you refer back to the last meeting of the investors and gentlemen, right, they talked about the importance of the change, right? They didn't try to rewrite history, or they didn't get into these long-winded discussions on matters not related. And one of the things I tried to say in my little 1.5 to 2 minute contribution was that I would hope that this opportunity to move to the parliamentary level, we would use that to rebuild the institution, because I believe that the building of our institution of the parliament is tantamount to preparing the country for independence way down the road, right? To get back to the days of punctuality, right? To get back to the days of respect and the standing orders of the rule of and the house is run by the thing. And when, the proper way for me to get up and interrupt another speaker, for instance, is to get up and say, Mr. Speaker, just stand up, and he will say, on a point of order, such and such order, you should deliver as 32, depending what it is. On understanding order 32, I wish to draw your attention to the statement made because I think it's conflict with that standing order. He should then look at the standing order that I'm referring to and decide, well, yes, you have a point of order. Can you explain your concerns or something, right? But what we do now is we get up, right, and he recognizes and you send a point of order, and then you launch into a speech, right? So there's no real, and one of the things that bothers me about the functionality of our Legislative Assembly currently is we hide all sorts of things into this thing about Westminster system being adversarial, and therefore we don't need to respect each other, we don't need to respect the rules, we can get up and go on and we want. There is no more adversarial position and no higher stake than two attorneys before a judge in court defending and charging a person with murder. But it is done with total decorum. And it civility. Is done with total civility, total respect for the next person's opinion or whatever their argument of law. There's a counter-argument. We should be operating in Parliament with the same self-respect to start with and respect for other members of Parliament. And it should be a debate.
Because if you listen to the UK and you follow them, those Englishmen over there, they have a way of insulting each other, and it sounds as if they're congratulating them.
Right. But again, one of the things that we try to defend our bad behavior is, well, look at somebody else. But I don't want to be part of a group that our standard is the lowest denominator, and we're okay as long as we can find somebody who's worse than us. Yeah.
Okay. We do have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Yes, and good morning to Mr. Miller.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, how are you, sir?
I'm fine as silk and tough as brown cotton.
I hear you. Mr. Miller, I spoke a while back to OC about the meters that the government or the water authority installs into people's residence. Now, when someone has a condo complex, say 50 condos, the condo complex or management owners or whatever, they pay for 1 meter and then they supply the rest of the condos with meters.
Yeah, then they can put in their own meters so they can divide up the cost based on your consumption.
Okay, now, if it's $5 per meter, is the condo complex management or owners allowed to charge the people that buy them or rent them the $5 a month rental?
I guess that would depend on your strata agreement, but in most of those, the strata is authorized to do things like that, to say, well, okay, we're paying the water bill at the means coming in, and then we divide it up based on your consumption, and for us to be able to accurately determine what your charge is based on your consumption, we need to meter your individual department and we are going to buy a meter, or we're going to rent a meter, and we're going to charge you X for the reader because it's for your protection.
Yes, I agree with that. But, okay, as far as the water authority is concerned, how much they're charging then? They're charging $5 a month for the meter to the complex?
Yeah, they could not charge for meters that they have not installed. They can't charge. I wouldn't think so.
Then.
No, it could. No, we gotta be careful here, because if the complex is if the water authority is billing each individual unit, then they can charge for the meter. You understand the difference? What I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's one supply line of water coming into the complex.
Right.
And if you got 50 other meters besides the one there. So who gets the $5? The complex or the water authority?
But it depends. If the water authority is only billing on one meter, right? Then they can only charge the $5 to the company for that meter. But if they are billing the individual units on separate meters, then they can charge for each meter.
Well, is that taking place?
I don't know.
It depends on the arrangement.
Yeah, it could well be.
Well, a different arrangement for different complexes?
It could be, yes. A lot of that would depend on your strata agreements and what you strike up with the water authority. I would think that the water authority would prefer to just have one main meter and leave it to the strata management to distribute the charges, and they only get paid. They get paid for the meter. That would think, if I was the director of the water authority, that's how I would want it, because it would be easier for me to manage and collect.
Well, the purpose really to charge for the meter rental is that to pay for the meter rental. Isn't that correct?
To pay for the meter, yeah.
Okay, so if somebody has a meter for 50 years, paying $60 a month.
Yeah, but they might have, if anything goes wrong, they have to replace it. I don't think it's any meter that'll last that long. I mean, I think the one on my house, only from my experience, I think I've had a runaway meter certainly once, maybe twice, and they came and it was their fault, and they replaced the meter at no cost to me other than I have under.
Well, I have two meters for over 4 to 5 years now, or coming December next month, they're going to be 4 to 5 years, and I paid $5 a month meter rental.
Yeah.
Now the money that they made off of those, because there's nowhere not that 1 meter could cost that amount or 2 meters could cost that amount. So where does this money go in?
Well, it probably contributes to keeping the cost of the water that you consume down. I don't know. Okay, I mean, that might be marginal, but I would think it would.
I understand.
Yeah.
And CUC also has what you call a facilities charge.
Yeah.
That is stacked onto people's bills, you know. To me, Mr. Miller, it seems like a big rip-off, and I don't know whether the government is getting most of the money or the people that are in these statutory companies are getting the money. If it's going there to the direct government.
But it should be. The excess revenue or expenditure, other than, again, depending on what the law that sets it up in terms of them being able to retain certain funds in order for maintenance and replacement and stuff like that, it go into government treasury.
Okay, and then the planning...
Not in CUC. That facility goes to the CUC.
And then the planning also charges a fee for whatever you're going to do, correct?
There usually is a planning fee.
I understand.
Okay.
Yeah, man. All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, caller. Any more calls, Miss Susan? I know this article would interest you, and I'm going to have to try to paraphrase from it. But a report that was issued by the World Bank, and this was on a Guyanese newspaper called Kiter News, the World Bank. Angola, Azerbaijan set aside oil jobs procurement for its citizens, and it states that the PP/C, that's the current government in Guyana can do the same for Guyanese. And what it talks about is the issue of local content.
Right.
And they point out that in in some of these countries, in order to ensure that there is local content, when a foreign company is given permission or given a license to operate in their country, that they set specific criteria, like 60% of your workforce, has to be, Guyanese, because in this case, they're looking at the oil fields and the oil work that is there, and opportunities for Guyanese then to get new skills in these areas, get jobs in these areas. Now, we don't have something like that in the Cayman Islands.
Well, we're supposed to have it, but we don't enforce it, which is our immigration, which used to be called the Cayman Protection Law. The whole basis of the Cayman Protection Law was exactly that, was that our forefathers at the time in 72, who were opening up the financial industry and realized that the growth of the financial industry would entail the importation of expertise and the importation of labor, right? They put in place the protection law, which says, and even our immigration law today doesn't say it as explicitly as I would like it, but the mechanism by which somebody can be given a work permit, in my view, says that every job created in the Cayman Islands is first and foremost for a Caymanian. And if you can't find a Caymanian, there's this elaborate process you're supposed to go through. But our problem is that it's too easy to get a permit.
Okay. We're going to take a break. When we return, I'm going to share verbatim some portions of this article, because I believe we here in the Cayman Islands can learn something from it, and we can do it, without and not having to worry about upsetting investors who come to the Cayman Islands and want to participate. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
It was a day that changed my life. No words can describe the feelings of seeing my baby boy sick for the first time. The overwhelming feeling of fear to be responsible for his health and happiness became my priority. So I did what any nurturing mother would do when their baby is sick. I took him to get some of the best medicine possible.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For the record, Record with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the Record with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Wanted to share this article with a portion of this article with Mr. Miller and with my audience as well. And this is a case study done by the World Bank in Angola, which of course is an oil-producing country. And the Guyanese seem to be highly interested in this, and this is why this article was carried in one of the Guyanese newspaper. And it says there that in the case of Angola, the study noted that the dominant secondary legislation for local content is Ministerial Order number 127/03 on the contracting of services and goods from Angolan companies by petroleum industry companies. The regulation reserves certain categories of procurement expenditures to Angolan companies, including logistics, catering, pressure test for storage tanks and pipelines. It also identifies spending categories that fall under a semi-competitive regime, where bidding by foreign suppliers and service providers is predicated on these companies first forming joint ventures with Angolan companies. Expenditure reserved for this category falls in the area of geophysical sciences, drilling, controls, and fluid analysis, and the operations and maintenance of production facilities. The law also seeks to establish a competitive regime which places all other categories of expenditure into international competitive tenders, yet provides for Angolan state companies and or private companies the right of first refusal, provided that the value of the relevant bid is no more than 10% higher than those of other companies. With respect to ensuring first preference is given to the use of locals in the oil sector, some countries focus on employment regulation, which is one of the most commonly used tools in local content policies. According to the World Bank study, some regulation may be accomplished through the imposition of minimum local employment obligations, minimum salaries and training requirements, the reservations of certain jobs or levels of citizens, the restriction of certain job levels to citizens, and the oversight of work visas. And I'll stop there. And just to add to that, the Bermudan government, and I will find that article, has just added several more categories because of the COVID-19 situation, has just added several more categories in terms of their work permits that will not allow work permits to be issued that have to be covered locally as well. So if other countries can do it, why can't we?
Well, I think like I said earlier, I think that was what we did when we introduced the Cayman Protection Law. Mm-hmm. The problem we have with that is that we ashamed to call it Cayman Protection to start with, which I never agreed with, because I think the mere fact that it was called the Cayman Protection Law carried the right connotation with it and set the standard. Mm-hmm. The problem is that we changed that now and it's called immigration, like built into the immigration, and I think, again, that need to be separated from the immigration legislation, and we need to enforce it, because we should be able to and when I was in the government, for instance, we issued a directive to the immigration board at the time that they were not allowed to issue work permits for condo managers, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that there are industries in Cayman that the government could issue those kind of directives, or make it very difficult to get work permits in certain areas, you know. And the other thing is that we need to make it more difficult to get a work permit.
Yeah.
Because what that does is it dilutes the value of Caymanian labor and the quality of it.
Yeah. One of my thoughts on that, and I was really deeply thinking about it the other day, we don't always get the quality that we want in the Cayman Islands when it comes to hiring people on work permit. But if you can get two for the price of one, then you can probably take the two and get 3/4 of that one, because we make it so cheap,
right?
You know, for people to to employ others, and then we allow them to offer them these, you know, low salaries.
Well, I would hazard a guess that 80 to 85% of the people we hire have to be trained by Caymanians when they get there to do the job. Most of them learn the job on the site. Mm-hmm. They may have some academic qualifications and some experiences in other areas, but most of the areas that we're recruiting our people from don't come from international finances areas, for instance, like how Cayman is involved in. Mm-hmm. And they have to learn these things when they get here. And it's usually the Caymanian that has to whether that's a Caymanian by birth or a Caymanian by paper, right? But they usually have to spend a lot of time training them. And then you see, because we restrict the work permit to the person who has the permit, right? They are prepared to train them because they have a guaranteed period of commitment from them. Whereas the Caymanian can get the training and move on to the next guy to get a couple of dollars more. So they're reluctant to train Caymanians because of the mobility. Mm-hmm. One of the things that we need to consider, I believe, in the future is whether we should release that restriction from people on work permit. Because right now you can't move from the company that brought you here without a release letter, right? Whether after a period of 3 years, allow the company to get back its original investment in bringing the person here in the recruitment cost, right? But then remove that restriction so that they have the same portability as the Caymanian. I believe that would enhance, in a strange way, the ability of Caymanians to get more jobs, because they don't have that tight lockdown on the person, and the person is the person who has the permit cannot rest assured that they will always have, for the 10 years that the person can be here, that person that you're employing.
But does not have an inherent danger to it, in that what you have to ensure is that once that person is allowed to, after a period of time, go out there and find work for any employer, you have to ensure that employers at the same time are not allowed to bring others in to replace those. Otherwise,
but that's what I'm saying. The process of getting a work permit has to be made more difficult to the benefit of the Caymanian. But one of the things that it does now is, in my view, is it artificial to keep salaries down. If the work permit holder can go from company A to company B because company B is paying $500 a month more, that job becomes $500 a month more valuable for the Caymanian as well. Mm-hmm. You see?
Yeah.
It may not be a perfect solution, but what we have now not working. Right? What we have now is simply depressing the value of good Caymanian labor, and in many instances denying good Caymanian unqualified labor access to the market at all.
Yeah. I've known several persons who have advocated that we should have something similar to the green card system that they have in the U.S. that allows persons to come and to be able to move around from one employer.
And like I say, even if we wanted to restrict it to a certain period of time, that the employer because there is expense in recruiting somebody to come here from the Philippines or the UK or anywhere else, that you get that back, so that you just can't come in and work locally, because then that would have the effect, I think, of being even driving up the value of the job down even more, because the business people can then go to the lowest denominator.
Yep. Okay, Ms. Susan, we're going to take a commercial break now, folks. We still have about half an hour left in the show. Please stay tuned. For the record, with MLA Mr. Ezra Miller will return shortly. We will hear from him also about his party and where we're at with that, because elections not too far away now.
Nope.
So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Stronger.
Wider, higher, lighter. The all-new Ford Ranger Raptor. Powerfully built with a 2.0 diesel Panther engine and 210 horsepower. Modern with leather interior and 8-inch touchscreen, Sync 3 technology and power features. Tough. Built to handle the off-road with 4-wheel drive, terrain modes, and a 10-speed automatic transmission. Coming early October to Vamped Motors, Walkers Road. To find out more and to test drive the bold new Ford Ranger Raptor, visit Vamped Motors, Walkers Road, or call 949-8288.
It's time to buy smart. It's time to buy Ropers. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices. Ropers. Appliances, dishware, bulk foods, and so much more. With huge savings. Ropers is stocked for your hurricane supplies. Don't cut back on your needs. Cut back on your spending with Ropers. Your neighborhood store. Value, integrity. Ropers Enterprises. 122 Industrial Way. Call 949-2511. Clean up your spending with Ropers. Ropers, providing products and services for better public health.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
No, man. My bills seem huge again, and I don't know what to do about it. I gotta look some help.
We can help. The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure has teamed up with CUC to give you the chance to win a home energy makeover worth up to $20,000. Not only will this lower your utility bills, it will increase your home's value. We are also giving away 8 home energy audits worth up to $1,900 each. Open to all homeowners in Grand Cayman. Entry is now open via www.energy.gov.ky/competition. Proudly sponsored by CEL Cooling, Mitsubishi, Foam Pros, Cooling Pros, and more. Use less, save more. Enter today.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Mr. Miller, before we get to your political party, I want to share the Bermuda article in relation to it. And what it says, more than 40 jobs added to immigration closed list. They call it a closed list in Bermuda. And the labor minister pointed out that unprecedented unemployment in Bermuda, in Bermuda's worst job crisis in modern times, stands at double the 2019 levels. He said that further losses were expected with, quote, large-scale redundancies in hospitality and financial services, close quote, as well as job contractions in retail over the coming months. He was speaking as 41 new job categories were added to the existing 12-strong closed category list for immigration. So I want to share with you the lists that they have. The newly closed job categories are bank teller, general bartender, commercial cleaner, fisherman, travel agent / consultant, administrative assistant, rooms attendant, kitchen porters, dish / pot washers, kitchen assistant or similar, tennis instructors, golf instructors, handyman, reporters/journalists, HR office managers, recruiters, customer car service rep, seasonal work permits, so no more seasonal work permits, interns, carpet installers, entertainment/musician, technician, salesperson, general carpenter, landscaper, gardener at the entry level, photographer, waiter/server, personal executive assistant, barber, senior clerk, warehouse clerk, security guard, laundry attendant, real estate agent, teaching aide, paraprofessional, legal executive, librarian, public relations officer, child care assistant, electrician, plumber. And the jobs that are already in the closed categories, which are 12 of those: airline ground agent, retail floor supervisor, general laborer, office receptionist, painter, salesperson, tourist retail salesperson, taxi driver, wallpaper technician, grocery packer, cashier, couriers. So, and what is to note with all of this is that Chamber of Commerce, the Bermuda Employment Council, and the Bermuda Industrial Union did not respond to requests for comments on these categories that that have been closed. So they're silent on them. Now in Cayman, there's some of those categories that we definitely need. But at least the Bermudans have made an attempt.
You see this,
and we here in the Cayman Islands, for fear of upsetting others, fail and refuse to do what is necessary to protect Caymanian labor.
Absolutely. You see, and that is what I support, as opposed to having separate legislation that says Caymanians only, right? Because the risk in Caymanians only is if you don't have Caymanians, they can't get nobody. But here we can limit the stuff, and if we once all of the Caymanians got jobs in this and our school leavers and was being taken care of, we can go back and amend that directive a lot easier than amending legislation.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I would like to see done right now by government is a directive that no work permits should be available for real estate agents. I mean, So and I think we can carve things out like that, but it takes effort, right? It takes works being a more proactive instead of a crisis management, right? And we shouldn't acquiesce to every employer or who come running to the government because they need a category of work permits, and then we find a way to do it. We need to have much more data. We have to get away from subjective acceptance of emotional appeals from business people and people who come here, right? We have the capacity in this country to produce the data. A lot of it is already in the companion of statistics. We just need to use it and ground our decisions in the data. Our decisions and our policies should be data-driven. And we don't do that.
Okay. Let's move over to your party. How is it? How are
well,
things coming?
We got slowed down, of course, with COVID, the People's Party, because, but we have basically completed a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff. We registered with the election office. We registered as a non-profit organization, which is not a requirement of the election, but I think it brings honesty and integrity to the whole program. We finally got an account open at a local bank. We've just rented an office in town. We've been developing our whole social media platform, websites, Facebook, Instagram, all that. It's all been branded with the party colors and the party brand and all that. So we should be unveiling that this week or next week. We rented an office space in town. We're in the process now of furnishing that and getting that ready. We hope to have our first little general meeting there on Thursday night about that. And then starting on the 16th of November, we're going island-wide with a series of meetings to explain to the public what the party is about and explaining to people that what participatory democracy is all about, because that is the key difference between the People's Party and the progressives and the CDP, is that we believe in a mantra of public participation. We're trying to promote a system that allows the public who are being affected by laws to participate in the process and not just be relying on lobbies and individual people going to government.
Okay. I'm going to ask you what do you say to those persons who say, well, who are your candidates? But I'll give you an opportunity to answer that a little bit later. We'll grab the caller first. And then, caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record.
Good morning, Doc. How are you?
And good morning to Mr. Edward Miller.
Good morning, sir.
In relation to your comments about Mr. For the Record about Bermuda and the job situation.
Yes, sir.
There's one thing I think that you have to take into account, and that is that I don't think that Bermuda has a wage system where people are making $4 and $6 an hour.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
they don't have more work permits than local employees either.
Yeah, and so Bermudans are ready and willing and able to take good jobs because they give them a living wage.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But Cayman is the opposite.
Yep.
And that's the reason why you cannot attract Caymanians to those jobs. Some of those jobs that you listed just now.
Okay.
Some of them yeah, like the executive jobs and all that kind of stuff. A lot of Caymanians are qualified. Mm-hmm. And bearing in mind, some of these people that they bring in here, for instance, I was speaking to some Filipino people the other day, and some people have a degree in accounting, and they're working as cleaners.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You see? But what did that tell you? It tells you that the country that they come from, there's technical education, vocation, and we have none of that.
Yep.
We abandon that quickly, so that the Caymanians did not have access to that kind of education, so that we could relegate them for $4 an hour. And we know they're not going to work for that. They can't work for that. They can't live off that. They can't live off $6 an hour. And then it's easy for us to bring in a multitude, thousands of foreign workers who $4 an hour is $30 an hour where they come from.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the difference. But you could read those things, but it's not going to get any better because the government, the Caymanian government, really don't actually run the country.
Uh-huh.
The Caymanian, and up to now, I would say after the 1980s, the Caymanian government really does not run the country. The country is run by the economic oligarchs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that sets the pace for how the country. The job situation, the labor in the country should go. After Mr. Benson and all of those people who ran the country in the 70s and the 60s, and wise to put in that law. They were quite wise to put in the law because they understood. Mm-hmm. They understood that after the men had left the sea and came home, that they would be at a disadvantage. And so they put in those restrictions called the Caymanian Protection Law. I remember all the problems we had with it, and they whittled
mm-hmm.
away. And after the Unity team lost their election in 1984, that was the end of it.
Yep.
That was the end of it. And no other government had stood up to the private sector and said no. There has to be a compromise here, and they have all capitulated, and now Cayman is a free for all.
Yep.
Anybody can come and build what they want to do. Not only that, but we give them money to do so.
Yeah, we subsidize them.
You see, subsidize them to do so against their own people.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you get men who have cojones like those men,
mm-hmm.
we're not gonna get anywhere. And Mr. Miller,
mm-hmm.
the only criticism I have about your party is this: I would have thought that the party would have been to such a stage where you could have gone from district to district to have public meetings to explain the party system to people, to get people interested.
Mm-hmm.
I am not criticizing you.
No, I appreciate that's good advice. But we're starting that on the 16th. We got held up with COVID, which should have happened in March and April. but because of the restrictions put on by governmental gatherings and stuff, and the reason it didn't happen in October is because we couldn't get access to the facilities to have the meeting in, because most of the civic centres and places like the South Sound is being ridiculously tied up for COVID testing, and there's no COVID testing going on in the buildings.
Have them on the streets.
Well, I will do that too.
Have them on the streets like you did before.
Yep.
They put up and set up a mic.
Well, we're going to start on the 16th. That week and the following week, we're going to do all the districts in Cayman and Cayman Brac.
You see, because you're not going to have the impact by just talking about it on the radio and having
I
a
agree.
meeting in an office. You have to get out in the streets and you have to fight for every
vote. Yep.
Okay.
I mean that's my two stands.
No, looking forward to your support,
Doc. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
much.
much.
Have a great day. I'll be in touch with you in the event.
Okay.
Okay.
What a two on a planning now.
We're going to take our last commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Green Turtle. Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
No, man. My bills seem huge again, and I don't know what to do about it. I gotta look some help.
We can help. The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure has teamed up with CUC to give you the chance to win a home energy makeover worth up to $20,000. Not only will this lower your utility bills, it will increase your home's value. We are also giving away 8 home energy audits worth up to $1,900 each. Open to all homeowners in Grand Cayman. Entry is now open via www.energy.gov.ky/competition. Proudly sponsored by CEL Cooling, Mitsubishi, Foam Pros, Cooling Pros, and more. Use less, save more. Enter today.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
The Tuesday and Thursday edition of The Business Buzz is brought to you by Cayman Medical Supplies, providing quality pharmaceuticals, medical supplies, and consumer products to healthcare providers, retailers, and ultimately the patients at a reasonable rate in a friendly, caring, and timely manner. Cayman Medical Supplies is located at number 93 Smith Road, Windward Center. Telephone 949-6211.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Last leg of the show. 10 minutes left. Mr. Miller, over to you about your... Okay, we will have Mr. Miller with us in 1 second, talking about his party, Mr. Miller?
Yeah, and you know, I agree with Mr. Markfield is that we should have been a lot further along, but you know, COVID affected everything, and 2020 has been a rough year. We should have been having these public meetings in the district way back in we had actually planned them for March and April, but because of the and we would have hoped that by now you'd have had the electoral district committees set up in all 19 of the constituents, because that is the roots of the party, you know. That is from where the decisions are going to flow, and the information that comes up to make policies and stuff are going to come from the people in each constituency. So we're a little bit behind time, but we just have to speed things up and get up with it. But like I said, we're still having difficulty getting venues, so we might have to do what Mr. Markfield suggests, is just have it out in the public. You know, but we got to wait until the weather. We might have to wait till December when we get some northeasters to, one, blow away the mosquitoes, and two, stop the hurricane threats with rain.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. We have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Miller.
Good morning.
You know I love you to death, but I got two questions to ask you, because I just, when you hear people talking on the street, I think I use the word Mario, because we have a new thing with that now, but I can use the street, okay? They say that you anti-Caymanian and you racist. Tell me that now too, Mr. Miller.
And I'm what?
You anti-Caymanian and you're racist.
And I'm racist and anti-Caymanian. Well, I won't do that now. That could be a hard sell for Ezra, because the big accusation of me is I'm xenophobic. I want to protect Caymanians too much. That's what all the people claim about me.
That's what I was saying too. You know,
Yeah,
but,
so you can faithfully defend that.
And I was not do it on the air, but I say, you know what? I don't see nowhere. I don't hear nowhere.
And you know I'm not racist. How could I be racist? You know, or I'm mixed blood. You know, I'm not pure anything. I'm all mixed up. And I'm proud. Listen to me, and I'm proud of all of my mixing.
Yeah, well, I am proud of mine too.
Yep.
Well, good luck when you're.
All right.
Whatever you plan on doing.
Okay,
have a
thanks.
great one. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay. So what do we say to those persons who say, your candidates? Who are your candidates going to be?
Well, again, part of the difference between what we're trying to set up with the Foundation of Participative Democracy is that we would prefer not to come to East and Northside and say, listen, we are running Ezra Miller in Northside as the people's candidate, right? The purpose of the electoral district committees is for them to select a candidate for their constituency and promote and get the candidate elected, right? And also to control the candidate after he's elected.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you believe that you should participate in the decision-making process, that you should have some control over the person that is elected to represent you, other than waiting on 4 years to make a decision, then you need to come join the People's Party. Because those are the two things that we are going to facilitate. Now, once you elect a person to the Legislative Assembly, the party can't take them with the Legislative Assembly, right? But we can remove them as member of the party if they're not meeting with the constituency, if they're not demonstrating that they're communicating at their constituency level, etc., because the other thing that the party does is no politician, no candidate can hold office either at the district level or at the national level.
Mm-hmm.
So that the administration of the party is independent of the politicians. What we have with the other two parties is that whoever the leading politician is controls everything. And I don't think that is a way that you can get continued participation in the community, and that you have any control over the party if the politicians are running the whole show. Because they simply do what the parties do. They don't have party conferences. They don't have party meetings, right? Which gives the public. They may have party meetings with their close advisors, right? But the general public, good example is what's happening in Georgetown with the 10-story, 7-story, and 5-story buildings, right? There's no participation by the people in that area. And those are the things that I would like to promote. But we'll see. I got to run because I just got a phone call that the furniture people are at my office door to deliver furniture. So
they can bring it here. Okay, sir. I want to thank you. Thank you very much
but time is up anyway. So
yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah. But it was a good morning.
Yeah,
I
and the
think
closing comments. Anything happening in the district? That road there to Kaibo is getting worse and worse.
I know, and that was supposed to be done from February. Remember, 2 years ago, I had a public meeting about that road. We agreed on a process forward to the NRA. It was my understanding that the funds were provided during Finance Committee to the budget, right? It was part of the money that was given to the NRA specifically to do that project. It's just been one whatever after or whatever, and they were supposed, the last thing I was told that it was starting in June, right? Here we are in November, nothing has started. I see they've gone down, and I see some red marks in the middle of the road, right? 4 weeks ago, I met with them up there, and they told me that they didn't have the money to do the hot mix. They were only going to do chip and spray, and they were going to Finger Key, the introduction with Finger Key Road. Fortunately, the worst part of the road is beyond that, right? And they will get started ASAP. I went down on the weekend. Nothing is being done. I don't see any. Most of the survey markers that were put up by Lands and Survey are gone. So they'll have to go back and resurvey it again now, I guess, to restore those markers so they know where to put the road. I don't understand what's going on. I think that, sometimes I wonder if they're just political victimization.
Okay. So, before you leave, there was something that I mentioned, and I'm going to do some more research on this. Of course, I'm not a lawyer at all, not even a jailhouse one, but I see, I mentioned to you earlier that the UK is making some changes to the Solicitors Qualifying Examination called the SQE. And it says here that currently the most common route to qualification requires you to complete a qualifying law degree, QLD, such as an LLB or a non-law degree, and law conversion courses such as the graduate diploma in law degree. Say you must complete the legal practice course and undertake a 2-year period of recognized training, more commonly known as a training contract with a law firm. During the training contract, you must attend the professional skills course, blah, blah, blah. And it says that the new regime, the new route to qualification changes all of that was in place before. So now some of the things, you must still hold a degree or equivalent, for example, through an apprenticeship, but it can be any subject. You must have a minimum of 2 years qualifying work experience.
Well, last time
you must pass the new SQ assessment and things. And
look at when I come by the following because we have published, the government has published a new legal services bill.
Yeah.
For which I have many, many concerns, and part of that is a whole training and licensing regime for lawyers. So I would be very interested in that.
Right.
And we have a discussion with what they're proposing versus what we're proposing.
And not only that, what impact this may have on the quality of lawyers that we may be getting out of the UK, if the standards have been changed, but yet, and are we going to apply the similar standards in the Cayman Islands when we allow persons from the UK to
one
come
of the things they're
here in the
proposing
Cayman Islands? So it's something for us to monitor, to watch.
They're proposing in the new legal services bill is to move the PQE requirements, post-professional qualification, from 3 years to 5 years. But that's irrelevant if we don't provide the training.
Yeah.
I think that my preference is, and I've told all the people who've been lobbying about it, that I am not supporting legislation that contains economic carve-outs and ratios for how many lawyers you can have and all that. That's business.
Yeah.
That's a business thing, and that's addressed under different legislation. What I support is professional legislation, and I would like to see the removal of the 2 years post PPC qualification. I would like to see those articles combined and built into that PPC qualifications, which just seems to be what they're proposing to do there, which requires some experience during that 2 years. But when you do your PPC, it'd be the equivalent of a bar exam in the United States. Yeah. You pass your PPC, you're a lawyer. There's no, it removes the subjectivity of me having to rely on somebody that I work for recommended me to be an attorney.
So this one is called the SQE, the Solicitor's Qualifying Examination.
Okay, so thank you.
Mr. Miller, thank you very much.
Yep.
All the best to you too, sir.
Thank you.
Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy and dangerous roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15. Or is racing at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by Ropers Enterprises, 122 Industrial Way. Products and services for better public health. Green Turtle. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today. And the Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure. Visit energy.gov.ky/competition to win a home energy makeover worth up to $20,000.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.